Okay,
They use
listen.
water cannons on them.
Why just not use regular cannons?
I don't know. Adam!
Your president is talking. Please listen. Here are some of my top priorities that I've laid out or promised in my campaign. We'll start with domestic issues first. Number one, we need to secure our borders. I'm not really going to deport everybody, maybe not anybody, but I do have to secure our borders. Homeland security. I need your help on that. It's one of my top priorities domestically. Okay? Of course, I've talked a lot about building a wall. Now I realize that's going to cost somewhere around $10 to $15 billion. I also said I would make Mexico pay for it. But I'm not sure how to do that. So I need your help. Because I have to at least try and do that, or I'm going to look like a bold-faced liar. Okay? I need to keep oil, coal, and gas a-flowing, and people who have jobs in those industries employed. Okay? If we can't do that, that was one of my main platform issues when I ran for president. That's why West Virginians and Wyomingans voted for us, right? Oil, coal, and gas. If you want to replace those forms of energy with something else, I need to know how you're going to put those guys to work that did work in that coal mine or in that refinery. Okay? We're not going France and shutting down coal. That's not happening under the Trump administration. We need to keep American corporations from sending jobs overseas. As you know, saved 1,100 jobs at the Carrier factory in Indianapolis, Indiana last week. We need more like that. Okay? So if you have a way to help keep jobs here, especially manufacturing jobs, instead of going to Mexico or China or Taiwan, I want to keep those here. Other domestic issues. We will be shutting down immigration from any country with ties to terrorism. State Department, Homeland Security, you need to help me out with how we can do that.
Hallelujah.
Okay? Foreign policy. We need to obliterate ISIS. But we can't send American troops in on the ground for very long, if at all. I'd prefer to not send them in at all. But I talked a lot of smack about how Obama's not doing enough to fight ISIS. We need to flex up big time so people take it seriously. We can't full-scale invade, but we got to do more than we've been doing. Even if it doesn't work, then we can say we tried, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We also need to rebuild our relationship with some potential allies that can help us fight ISIS, especially the Russians. Okay? As you know, kind of have a bro crush on your boy, Vladimir Putin. He kind of has a bro crush on me. It's a mutual feeling. We like each other a lot. We like ourselves a lot, too. President Obama said he was going to hit the reset button on Russian relations. He didn't. Didn't work out. So we need to rebuild our relationship with them. Okay? Those are my top priorities. So anything you can connect to one of those, you get bonus points. We're going to start with Department of Defense because we have the biggest budget.
Huge. It's huge.
If you take the next 7 countries in the world who spend the most on defense after us, we're first, add up the next 7, their budgets on their military, ours is bigger.
It's huge.
That is not a misuse of the word huge.
Huge.
Okay? So I need to know, what the heck does your agency do? And then within the scope of what you do, what are at least 1, but 2 is fine, problems or issues you want my attention? Here's the microphone. You will call me Mr. President. You will call your fellow cabinet members Secretary followed by last name. So Secretary Jones, let's do it.
Okay, Mr. President. The mission of the Department of Defense is to provide the military forces needed to deter war and to protect the security of our country. The department's headquarters is at the Pentagon. 15 years ago, our nation was attacked. Almost 3,000 people were killed by terrorists in this strike. There is now a new terrorist group at large. We call it ISIS. Our nation cannot stand another attack because it will strike fear in the minds of all our citizens and it will tear our country apart. Therefore, we need to focus on defending the people from ISIS before anything else, because with no country, we have nothing else. We need to keep the fighting away from the U.S. and keep it under control in Syria.
So you're telling me to prevent another 9/11, which we all agree we don't want that happening under my watch, right?
Yes.
We need to take the fight to them
Yes, Mr.
in Iraq and Syria. Okay. State Department is going to have to work with you on that. She's absent today. If she's not here tomorrow, she's fired.
Tomorrow's Friday.
But I need to know how we can do that without a bunch of American troops on the ground. And if we do have to send them in on the ground, not for very long. Because as the Secretary of the VA will tell us, we have enough problems trying to treat our wounded veterans and people who need health care. The last thing I need is tens of thousands of more injured dudes who need to go to our crappy VA hospitals.
Okay,
What's that look like? Paint me a picture.
well, Mr. President, I've got one solution so we don't have to send our own people in on the ground there. You've heard of the atomic football, right?
Oh, I have it, yes.
Yeah, we need to unleash the nukes on ISIS.
Can we?
This is not out of character, but a question for you from Mr. President. Why'd we build all these warheads if we're not willing to use them? What do we got them for? What good is North Dakota with all their nuclear missiles?
Scaring people.
Because I don't know if I'm prepared to take that off the table.
Don't.
Good.
I'm not prepared to at
That'd
this
be a huge
juncture.
mistake.
That's a good point. Very valid.
So you're telling me if we can't find a way that I should keep nukes on my list of possible plans?
Yeah.
Takes every option.
Well, at least Homeland Security wouldn't have to figure out a way to keep Muslim immigrants from coming, because I'm pretty sure none of them would want to come after that.
Good.
Okay. Thank you, Secretary Jones. Whoa, we're not clapping. It's a cabinet
We're
meeting.
not little
This
kids.
isn't kindergarten show and tell.
You had good points. I was just applauding.
Have you looked at your cabinet?
I'm looking at them right now. That's why I'm sitting at the head of the table. Are you guys next?
Yeah.
Okay, next. Attorney Generals. They're the only ones that aren't secretaries.
We're both Attorney Generals?
I'm collectively. You can be the Deputy Attorney General, I think is second in charge.
The assistant.
Deputy.
But they are the Department of Justice. And we all know that there have been issues with police relations. I'm very pro-military and pro-police, not so pro-black people who've been getting shot by them. But there are some racial undercurrents in our country right now, and you're going to have to help me solve that problem. So what the heck do you guys do?
Game time.
We are to enforce the law and defend the interests of the United States according to the law, to ensure public safety against threats, foreign and domestic, to provide federal leadership in preventing and controlling crime, to seek just punishment for those guilty of unlawful behavior, and to ensure fair and impartial administration of justice for all Americans.
Okay, so the biggest problem that we are facing right now is cybersecurity.
What's that even mean?
So I'll give you an example. Recently, China has
China?
China has hacked the U.S. cyber system, and they got the information of a million citizens, right? Their social security number, their address, their names, their credit
Did
card.
they get mine?
Oh, buddy, they wanted yours, Mr. President. I'm sorry to inform you. So we fixed that.
How do we fix that? That's
Well,
a
we didn't
problem.
fix that. We tried to fix it. We gave a lot of the we gave all the citizens a 2-year warranty to a LifeLock company, which, in my opinion, is the best we could do at this point because the damage was done. But for further references, we need to hire hackers to help us understand what we're dealing with, and then help them help us create like firewalls and stuff to defend against this cybersecurity.
Homeland Security, write that down. If we can't afford a brick and mortar wall, let's build a firewall. Continue.
I'd like to recommend machine guns too.
It's not out of the question.
At this point, we cannot have this liability against us. We have to have everything secure, including our borders and our cybersecurity.
Okay. One serious question that will get discussed with Jeff Sessions, his Attorney General nomination, right?
Yep.
What do we do with marijuana law enforcement? Because federal law that you're in charge of enforcing equally and fairly, according to your mission statement, says it's a crime to possess marijuana for any reason in any amount anywhere in the U.S., right?
Yep.
But we now have 17 states that have legalized it in some form. Could I foreseeably tell you to go enforce those laws with DEA agents and FBI agents in all of those states like California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada?
Yes, Mr. President.
What's your advice on that? Because I don't like pot smoking hippies, but I also don't know what to do. Do we agree that's like a serious question he's going to have to answer?
Mm-hmm. So,
Give me some contingencies at least. Like, what could I do?
you could enforce federal law.
Well, that's our job, but I can also tell him to ignore it, like former President Obama.
Well, he's former president for a reason.
That's right. The American people have spoken.
As current president, Mr. President,
That's me.
you would, since there are only state laws and federal laws supersede state laws,
No matter what Wyoming says, that's the case, yes.
you could appoint a federal law,
No, we have a federal law.
then enforce it.
So you want me to send the DEA into every pot shop in Colorado and shake them down?
Mr. President, you can do that.
I know I can, but should I? I don't know what to do. That's why I got you guys.
Yes, Mr. President, you should do that.
Are there any repercussions if I do that?
You're going to have a lot of hippies mad on your front lawn.
Yeah.
That's why we have snipers on the White House, Mr. President.
I like that idea.
And walls.
And
Mr. President, you will make a great division
We'll
in
drill
our
right
country.
through their
if you
pot
do that.
shop.
I already have, so.
That's a permit.
Do any other agencies have any input? Because this is like a serious decision we're going to have to make. Here's what Obama, former President Obama, every time I say that I get to smile. Makes me feel warm in my belly. He said to these guys, let's just ignore that law in those states. The DEA will still come to Wyoming and bust a drug dealer if they're selling marijuana, but in Colorado they stay out. We're in this like weird middle ground where federal law says it's illegal, state law says it's okay, the DEA just stayed out. That seems like a temporary fix. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad, but any other agencies have input in this decision? Because they're telling me to just go crack down.
Okay,
What are the states going to do if I do that?
Mr. President. Okay, I have another solution. So, as much as I hate to say this, we could do what Obama did and ignore it, but
Former
Former
President Obama.
former President Obama, we could ignore him in those states, but tax the heck out of them. Give them like a 75%.
But how can we tax
rate
an industry that's illegal?
in those?
How is a pot dealer going to report income on his federal tax return when it is a federal offense?
Can we blackmail governors?
Mr. President, we could legalize it and tax it.
Well, we
extremely
can't,
high.
but Congress can.
That's correct.
Wrong.
By taxing it extremely high, we're...
I thought I was the law and order candidate. I'm going to legalize marijuana?
No.
No. Enforce it.
The Department.
Then I'm going to need to create a Department of the Munchies to satisfy the consequences of that decision.
Well, it's either go against your word and legalize it in all the federal states, or enforce the law that forbids it. It's your choice, Mr. President.
Well, isn't there a middle option?
Of course there's a middle option.
Explain it.
We already have
We drill
the former
Former
President Obama option.
No, that's just not having a backbone. As
But I'm not hearing a better plan.
There really isn't one.
Are all of those states going to sue the heck out of us if we go enforce those laws?
That's what we have.
Who's the head attorney for the United States federal government?
Adam Raza.
Attorney General. That's what you're going to have to deal with those lawsuits.
That's our job.
That's true.
Not wrong.
So why make the issue greater?
I don't see any
Are
other
you guys
option.
fighting? You're the same thing.
Anybody have any input?
No, good job.
No, go.
Agriculture.
No, keep going.
Do we have a Secretary of Agriculture present?
No, Kim's not.
I was going to ask them how we can, like, how marijuana fits into the Department of Agriculture, but it's for another time and place, I suppose. I'm going to have to say at this point, I don't feel like there's a better option
The Department of Energy. would
than
speak.
telling you guys to stay away from pot-smoking hippies in those states. Because I'm afraid of the consequences. And I'm not going to, there's no way I'm going to Congress to legalize marijuana. I'm not going to be that president. I want to be the one who built the wall, not the one who legalized marijuana.
Good. You want this?
Secretary Walton?
Marijuana at one point was never legal in America. So why are we not making America great again and making it not illegal? Or making it illegal again?
Well, it is illegal under federal law. We just
So
haven't.
why can the states decide what they want to do? Like,
they're sovereign.
that is not.
They're not sovereign.
There we go.
Anymore.
So we need to enforce federal law over state law. Just like we're enforcing it in other states so they cannot have
How
marijuana.
can they sue if it's against the law? Like, wouldn't you just be like, that's against the law?
So here's a good example. Former President Obama signed us up to take on a bunch of Syrian immigrants, right? The federal government handles immigration, not the governor of Wyoming. But a whole bunch of governors like ours filed a lawsuit trying to get him to stop that immigration proposal. It doesn't mean they'll win. You can file lawsuits you know you'll lose just to slow them down and make them waste money defending you in court. Right? I mean, people file frivolous lawsuits all the time. Okay. Thank you, Department of Justice.
You're welcome, Mr. President. Who wants it?
I need something into Canvas about that. Okay. Secretary Major, what cabinet position are you heading up, and what do you do?
Do I have to stand up?
Please do.
So I'm the Department of the Interior, and I protect and manage the natural resources and cultural heritage, and
What's cultural heritage?
like American Indians and Alaska Natives and affiliated island communities.
I sense a clash coming on with the Department of Energy. Continue.
So my thing is to honor my trust responsibilities with all people, and the problem with the Dakota Access Pipeline is that when it breaks, because nothing is 100% and it's gonna break, it's gonna go into the into the drinking water of the of the tribes there, and it's a sacred site. So, but there's also, you can go up, like, there's another one, or like another plan that you can go up farther north, upstream of Bismarck, and yeah.
So you're telling me one of your number one concerns is the Dakota Access Pipeline?
Yes.
While you are over a pipeline right now under your feet.
Shut up, Kyle.
That is serious
Secretary
line.
Walton.
Secretary Walton, nobody addressed you.
I
Address
see.
myself.
I see though an issue that is overlapping with two important agencies, right? Obviously, energy has something to do with this,
Yes.
but so does the Interior. So, fun fact: if you didn't know, President-elect Trump,
Nope.
they were talking in real life now,
Oh.
interviewed 2 people from Wyoming for your job. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, the one coach from.
The
Orange.
Trump?
Cynthia Loomis, our representative in Congress who's retiring,
Yeah.
she went and met with Trump last week about the Department of the Interior job.
Oh, really?
And then he called Wyoming Governor Matt Mead, who's our governor right now, and asked him about the position. So we could have a Wyoming person in his cabinet.
So this is going to create
42,000 jobs.
46,000 jobs with construction.
And then
And you're-
provide 650,000 barrels of oil per day.
And one of your big missions as president was to bring
Whoa,
jobs here.
it
not-
wasn't. It is.
It is to bring jobs here and not
That's right.
export.
Are you telling me that our energy supply is in conflict with Native American heritage.
Big time. But if
Based
you-
on my platform and all the speeches I gave when I
you
ran
talked
for
about
president,
Indian, you talked about
I'm going to have to pick one over the other, am I not?
Yes. But your main focus wasn't on Indian burial grounds, it was on oil.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly. So if we're going to be better off to put the pipeline through than we are
And
to
Okay,
protect-
also,
to
so
protect a sacred
the
area.
Cultural heritage,
Oil.
oil jobs.
okay, listen to this
Oil
really quick.
jobs.
So the only reason that the Dakota Access Pipeline didn't go up like farther north and upstream of Bismarck was because it was gonna be too close to the capital's drinking water well. Well, it's close to the Indians, and why did they have like a better life than the Indians? Like, why can't you just find a different way to go through it?
We'll put a
Okay.
pipeline in the first place, you said, too. We don't disagree with that either.
What makes you so sure it's gonna break randomly?
It
right
is
in
a
the
city of
Mississippi?
Because
100,000
it's not
people,
like
though,
the
in
matter of if
capital
it breaks,
North
it's
Dakota.
gonna break.
Yeah, but what makes you so sure
Everything
it's gonna
breaks.
break in the Mississippi River? They
Well-
have block stations, a certain part where you can shut a pipeline in.
Like, of all the miles of pipeline, the chances of it breaking right there.
And you have stop stations on like a certain amount, so then if it just like
Department of Energy, remind me what happened with the Conoco pipeline under the Yellowstone River in Billings, Montana last year.
It broke and contaminated all the water.
just like
See?
the EPA contaminated the whole that one river.
That one river. I know exactly.
Because I just put the remote like right.
Okay.
So
I'm going to have to say,
It was your mission. to
I
put jobs
respect
back.
that your job, Madam Secretary, is to uphold all that stuff you talked about that I don't understand nor care about. I'm just going to have to go with the Department of Energy's recommendation
You're welcome.
that we allow this pipeline to go through, because I'm going to have to pick. At times, things are in conflict. This is how democracies work. And I'm taking oil jobs over Native American fluffy stuff.
Thank you,
call
Mr.
Mr. President. That's a good call.
Thank you for your input, both sides.
No,
This
Robbie,
isn't
you can
kindergarten.
clap.
I'm clapping your points, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next, Secretary of Education. Right?
The remote's right in front of you.
Shouldn't be.
Are you sure?
Pretty
Well, we
darn
have
sure.
people gone.
Probably.
Because Kim's not here.
Oh, it might be them.
No, sorry.
I was gonna say they're ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm way off.
Nobody's
Department of
doing
Labor.
Oh, just
Secretary Nix.
use your little remote.
If you did not read, his real appointee to this position is a CEO of a fast food company.
Alright, so we're responsible for like work stuff, so like wage, hour standards, unemployment, insurance benefits, and reemployment services. So like what we're trying to do right now is to improve the working conditions so they're safer, and help people get jobs, which will be easier now that we're not letting as many people in the border.
That's the goal. What's a big issue that you need my help with? Why should I care?
Right now, the minimum wage is like,
$7.25.
yeah, and some people can't afford to live off that because
Tell them to get another job.
Yep. That pipeline comes through, they'll be able to work on it.
Shut up,
And it will
Kyle.
come through.
Senator Wolf.
When
Secretary.
it comes
Big girl.
through.
Every day. I would like to also bring out a point.
Okay.
For your labor, creating jobs. Just 2 pipelines alone would create 90,000 jobs in America. The
And
oil and
one's
gas,
only an access pipeline.
Yep.
It's not even a full length.
full-length pipeline. Oil and gas industry supports 9.8 million jobs, or 5.6% of the total U.S. employment. So why not create more jobs by drilling more, by creating more pipelines?
But what if someone can't work on the pipelines?
Well, then you work on the rig.
What if they can't work on the rigs?
Well,
What if they
then
can
you
only
go-
have like?
If you're a
Those
breeder
are-
at Walmart,
Hey,
then
no, we still need pumpers.
yeah, you gotta have people who check the routes.
What if someone is crippled, like they're in a wheelchair? They can't just go out there. They need to
Walmart
have
breeder.
Exactly. So what if Walmart greeters are only paid $7.25?
Not everybody's a
This country
pipeline
isn't
here.
based off what ifs.
So then why build them?
Huh?
Secretary Jones, I will throw
I'm
something
just
at
going
your
to
face.
tell you right now, I do
Private.
not support raising the minimum wage.
Yep.
Yep, good.
Your boss will pay you what you're worth, and if
Good.
you're worth $7.25 an hour, that's what you're getting paid.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Liking your presidency already.
For example, North Dakota has one of the lowest unemployment rates and one of the highest incomes due to the formation that was found underground and needed to be fracked in order to retrieve the products. After that, they have to pipeline the product somewhere. And then when they go to the plant, they have to be shipped out through trucks or put through another pipeline for the byproducts, which is just create more jobs.
No,
Plus all the gas.
it's my
byproducts.
cabinet.
There you go.
Okay, I have a serious question for the Secretary of Labor. Does our nation allow women to take paid maternity leave? Like, does your boss have to give you a paycheck when you first go home and have a baby in America? We do not. As someone with a pregnant wife, this is a matter near and dear to my heart. Shut up. I would like... I might be 70, but I have got an 11-year-old son, so you do the math.
Oh, I'd rather not.
Now, allow me to share with you the other nations on this earth who do not mandate paid maternity leave. So we're an elite company in the United States because us, Swaziland, Lesotho, and Papua New Guinea are the only countries on earth besides us who do not have paid maternity leave. So, do I have an image problem with women?
Yeah. Big one?
Let's be real. It's pretty huge.
It is huge.
Oh my god.
So, even though it's not really a monumental thing, do we kind of look bad since we don't mandate paid maternity leave? Look, I'm going to read those countries again. Good luck finding them on a map. I don't know where they are.
Could you
They're the
take a
Secretary of
vacation
State. Lesotho, Swaziland, and Papua New Guinea. And us. That's it.
So, question.
Yeah.
So,
Question.
Secretary of Labor, do you think we could get Congress to pass a law that says for one day your boss has to give you your paycheck if you have a pregnancy? So then at least we can say, it's kind of a loophole, see what I did there? Paid maternity leave, but it's only one day. Is that going to help my image problem with women?
Yes.
Because former President Obama, hope and change and minorities and women and multicultural diversity and all that stuff, right? He didn't get paid maternity leave passed in 8 years. What would that do for my image with women if we got Congress to pass that law in my first 100 days in office?
It'd make it
Mr.
huge.
President, it's
What?
only one day.
It's better than zero. Secretary of Education, you're good at math. How many times greater is 1 than 0? That's right, infinite. Infinite.
Nice. All the numbers.
See what I did there?
I kind of want to start clapping.
Would you support paid maternity leave for women?
Yes.
For what?
Okay.
Oh.
I need a proposal on my desk by next Friday, and then we'll get it to Congress.
I got you. I'll help.
Okay, thank you, Secretary of Labor. Next. Secretaries of Health and Human Services aren't here. They better have a plan for Obamacare and Zika. After them, HUD's not here. So we got transportation. What do you do, Madam Secretary?
Like what is that?
What's your agency responsible for as Department of Transportation?
Transportation.
Are you getting smart with me?
Okay. Our mission is to serve the United States by ensuring a fast, safe, efficient, accessible, and convenient transportation system that meets our vital vital national interests and enhances the quality of life of the American people today and into the future.
Car equals oil equals
Is our
pipeline.
current transportation system heavily based on fossil fuels?
Big time.
Yes.
Should we continue
Yes.
that trend?
Yes.
We're gonna need more pipelines. I don't know.
What?
Yes,
What's
sir.
a pressing issue for the Department of Transportation?
Okay, well, I did the research and funding of self-driving cars.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay.
I mean, they're still gonna run off.
How can we make that a thing?
No metal on metal.
Do cars have to pass federal safety standards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we make it easier for companies like Google and Apple to make self-driving cars?
Yes.
Have you guys seen the Tesla cars that have autopilot?
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw
Go
one.
on YouTube and
Correct.
type in Tesla autopilot.
I have a picture right here.
It's pretty awesome.
I don't know what kind of car. It's a Google car.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yes,
Captain Aggie.
it's ugly. It's like a marshmallow.
It kind of looks like my car.
What are the crash ratings?
100%.
We could fit that through a pipeline.
Jesus. Okay.
Probably
So-
welder in that pipeline with it.
We want to prevent. There's been over 1.3 million people die from car accidents a year, and we want to lower those numbers.
How can we do that?
Driver's ed.
Well,
Is America's infrastructure, like roads and bridges, kind of aging and falling apart?
yeah.
Did I promise new jobs for construction and industry? Anybody see a compatibility between those two things?
Kind of. No, just kidding. I do.
How can we make that a thing? How can I kill two birds with one stone there? Labor,
You know.
transportation,
Keep the
help me
lines
out.
up. Just throw it.
You can put them all to work, building new roads.
And pipelines.
And on
Well, the asphalt's
researching
made
for
from
new
oil,
cars.
so
That's one thing.
So ease regulations on new cars so we can get some sweet driverless cars out on the road. And somehow fund a giant infrastructure project of rebuilding roads and bridges.
Uh-huh.
I like it.
People are gonna die.
Thank you, Secretary Digby.
Uh-huh.
Next,
Adam, this is funny.
Department of Energy. I know you're far down the table, but you're near and dear to my heart.
that's why we set up there. We knew.
Pipeline here, pipeline there, pipeline everywhere.
Okay. Here's my first question. I've probably made as many promises dealing with your agency as anyone else at this table. But a basic understanding of economics dictates that we can say, let more companies drill for oil and mine coal. But what's the real problem with the energy industry right now? Think of coal. What's the real issue with the coal industry? The price. It's
Price.
cheap. Think about natural gas. For
We
like
can import
7
it.
years, it's been cheap, right?
We can import it cheaper than we can produce it here.
And we have so much of it. The United States has more natural gas than any country on earth.
Good.
Ask Sublette County, Wyoming. They know.
We know.
They know.
When you go
We know.
frack North Dakota and get down to that oil under the Bakken Shale Formation, you open up a huge supply of oil.
Huge.
North Dakota size. Put that on the market, and what happens to the price of oil if
It drops.
demand didn't change but supply went way up?
It drops.
Cheaper prices.
We have a solution.
I want to hear it because I don't have one. That's why I hired you.
We import less oil coming into America. We can drill more and people will have to use our oil. So the demand will go up.
The demand will go up as we cut off imported oil.
Well, what are other countries going to do to us if we stop importing their oil?
That's why we have the
That's
Department
why
of
we.
Defense.
That's why we have a nuclear.
Cyber hack us. That's what they'll do. Who is the Department of Defense?
I feel like it's not going
Jeremy.
to change anything
Oh.
because it's just like not buying anything else. Just
Does the federal government lease a lot of land to oil companies to drill on?
Yes. Yeah. for
Could we
the-
make it easier to get drilling permits on federal
yeah.
land?
And you could.
And what will happen to the price of oil?
It'll
it'll decrease again.
Yeah.
Dang it. Dang economics.
I mean, the amount of oil coming, it's like 9.4 million barrels a day comes in, and we produce 9.4 million barrels just in America, like the same amount coming in.
But why do we import oil if we have so much here?
Because why not? More is better.
Well, you're going to buy it from the cheapest source, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we quit bringing it in from anywhere else,
The Middle East, then we'll also provide more jobs here, too.
like you said, it'll ultimately boost the economy because more oil. If you look just directly at oil, all the oil hands will be making more money. They'll go out and spend more on a new pickup. That means the pickup companies are making more money.
That means they're
And
going to build
it'll
more
be-
economy is
pickups.
up.
It'll trickle through the whole economy eventually.
I need a plan for these three industries in order: oil, coal, natural gas. I can lift EPA regulations, I can ease requirements on drilling permits, but at the end of the day, I want those people working. And I'm afraid, because I know a little bit about economics as a self-purported billionaire, that if all we're going to do is increase the supply of an already cheap commodity, it's just going to get cheaper.
But the
That's why
price
we
will
cut
go
off.
up once we cut off.
Yeah.
So we need to
Outside
stimulate
oil.
demand.
So you're cutting off half of what comes into America when you're
But
cutting off Middle East.
what are those countries going to do to us? What are the Saudis going to do when we say we're not buying your oil?
Are you saying you're afraid of the Middle East, Mr. Trump?
I'm not afraid of anybody,
Exactly.
and I'm Mr.
Exactly.
President.
Mr. President.
But those countries import American goods, and I'm afraid that's going to start a trade war.
Oh, no, that's only 4 countries out of the 1,000.
Well, we import a lot of oil from Venezuela, Canada, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, no.
Well, Canada will stay because we got pipelines going through both countries. We have to keep up with them.
I need a concrete plan to stabilize the price of oil, coal, natural gas, and I'll do anything I can in terms of easing regulations. We all know climate change is a hoax made up by the Chinese government, so I'm not worried about that.
Sounds about right.
And here's the real thing. The Trump administration's not concerned with glaciers in Antarctica and what may or may not happen in 100 years. I'm concerned about what the U.S. history textbooks say about me 4 years from now.
Let's hope for another.
And a
war.
few polar bears might die, but it's not a real big deal
That's
right
only
now.
a few.
We got more.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, thank you. Department of Energy. Department of Education. What do you do, and why should I care?
Well, I don't know. Hello, Mr. President. I am Secretary Meeker of the Department of Education. Education has always been one of the top priorities in the U.S. because without education, we cannot utilize our full potential and resources. Also, if you want to get a career and a social status to enjoy, you need to complete your education. You and your family will profit from the education acquired to make a better life and career. We deal with education from public schools to college universities. We help with giving schools buses to transport students to and from home. We help provide school from home for students with special needs and so much more. To begin, one of the biggest problems we face is increasing college degree attainment in Americans. With this, we hope that by September 30th, 2017, 48.4% of adults ages 25 through 34 will have an associate's degree or higher. The problem is Americans are faced with the cost of tuition. What we need from you is to raise our budget and or lower the cost of colleges. Our department gives away many scholarships. Many people apply for FAFSA or the free application for federal student aid.
May have heard of it, seniors.
Sounds like Bernie.
We give people who are in need or who do not have enough money and cannot afford to attend college, we give them an opportunity to go to college.
How can I reduce the cost of college?
You tax people
Tax
more.
people more, yeah.
Bernie Sanders' plan?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Not doing that.
Good call.
That's socialism.
Then I asked that if some of the other departments, if they have a surplus of money that they will not use or do not have a good enough reason to use, that it goes to the Department of Education.
Good call. Pipeline or education pipeline.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Now, we will reconvene my cabinet on Monday, so if you didn't get a chance to go,